With the tomorrow update, potentially we are going to get way more legend runes than before with so much less farming time. And also, we're going to be farming a whole lot when we sleep, which means a lot more rune selling to come. So in this video, I want to talk about my rune selling process and what makes a good runes. For context, I am right now top 1000-ish in RTA. I also play Siege a lot. If you watch the channel, I've been playing a lot more RTA, as you can see right here. I have ruined so many RGB unit and learned how to draft like a pro. After looking at Zaza's box, I got really inspired. So as you can see, so many RGB unit being ruined up and all the counterplay available that I can use. But the most important thing is, how do you keep your runes? So most of you guys will be farming a lot of dragons. The competitive PvP player also farm a lot of giants to get their top speed set. But a lot of people farm dragons and necro for their violence and their will. And here is my sell exclusion settings. It's gonna be very simple, okay? I don't want to make it super complicated for you guys or for myself. So for 6-star rune, I sell everything. For slot 2, you also don't have to care about HP, attack, defense. Even if they roll quad speed, it doesn't really make a huge difference. But for the other slot, I sell everything and I keep this part here empty. And when you go to the setting, I have like 3 settings. It is very simple. For legend rune, I will roll anything that has 4 speed. So one condition only, because for legend rune with 4 speed, any rune can give you like a 25 speed and potentially boost your top set to 220, 230, whatever. So any rune can become good with 4 speed in it. And then my second setting is for hero runes, and any hero runes with 5 speed can also be good. And I put 5 in there because it's been a long time. I used to put 4 here because I believe 22 speed is good, but no longer the case. 22 speed is not that good anymore. It's very tragic to upgrade rune from 4 speed, especially Vio and Will, and they become like 19. It feels kind of terrible. So I go up to 5. You can probably go up to 6 too. Doesn't really matter that much. For the order condition, I now ignore all purple runes with like HP, attack, crit rate, crit damage. I don't care about that anymore, okay? I have more than enough rune for the siege team that I want to build, so I don't care about that anymore. But for most people out there with below average or average rune, so if you look at my runes and you think that my runes are good, then you might want to put hero in here as well so that you can potentially test more rune, or if you want to spend more time upgrading, you do you. Okay, but for me personally, I used to have hero here for many years, but now I don't really care about hero runes anymore, and we're getting more legend anyway. I'm gonna look at legend mostly. So I put most of the substat almost to the max, almost. So crit rate 5%, HP, attack, defense 7%, that kind of thing, and only if they have 2 of this high substat, I keep. But most of the time, okay, most of the time we care about speed anyway in this kind of game. So what we really want to see at the end of the day is a rune with speed and some other good stuff. So this is my sell exclusion setting. But what makes a good runes in my eye? So a good rune can be very simple. This is a Vile rune with 28 speed after grinded, so it started with 23. I put in 23% HP, but it has only 6 accuracy and a defense flat line and innate defense percent. But this is a very good rune. It has high speed and it now has high HP as well. However, it is not a perfect rune, but this is the kind of rune that everybody wants. High speed, and that's all you care about. But when you play in the high rank, your stat is very important. If your unit only has speed and no stat, it's going to be very squishy. It's going to do no damage and all that kind of stuff. A perfect rune is something like this. It has high speed and it has grindable substat as well. So for example, this rune right here has 28 speed. It has innate accuracy, which is the most desirable innate stat ever, accuracy, because whether you are damage dealer or you are a debuffer or even healer sometimes like Annabelle, you kind of want some sort of accuracy in there, unless you're like a Chow and the only thing you land is dot, then you don't care about accuracy. But a lot of unit or the majority of the stuff that you use nowadays will care about accuracy. And if you have accuracy innate in majority of your runes, you can have less accuracy in the substat focus on the grindable stat, which are attack, defense, and HP percent, because you cannot grind accuracy, right? So accuracy innate is very desirable. And if a unit awaken into accuracy like Oliver, then with innate accuracy and a good slot 2 with 20% accuracy, you can easily get to 60, 70% accuracy and then maximize it with artifact. So a good rune is the one with speed and grindable substat. So this is really good. Another good example is going to be, let's say, this attack rune right here. It has quad roll speed, the dream, pretty much, and it has accuracy in there, and it also has defense, and I put in HP so that we have 3 grindable stat, and accuracy is good. Of course, it could have accuracy innate, and I have like HP flat or attack flat further grinded down below. Okay, don't look down on flat stat. For example, this rune right here, it has 800 HP flat, which could really make or break a certain moment where you survive or you die. So grind your flats and grind the other stuff as well. And a good player will try their best to grind the substat to the maximum possible, which means you can see that the rune is really good. You use that on your core unit every single day. You throw in a legendary gem that has 10 to 13%. You're trying to roll 12, 13%, and then you drop another legend grind to make it 20 plus, and that is going to make a beautiful, beautiful masterpiece of a rune. So this is the dream outcome: high speed and grindable substat. That is why we care about speed so much in the cell exclusion setting. That's why we have speed in here. And if it doesn't have speed, I wanted to have HP attack percent, so I can potentially make it a siege rune, for example, because there are other runes that I have that did not start with speed, but then I grind speed in there and I can use it in siege battle where I don't need it to be super, super fast. For example, this one has HP defense and it rolled twice into crit rate. I put speed in there and it's pretty good. Very, very usable. So crit rate is another very important stat right below speed that you cannot grind to increase the value. You can increase HP, defense, attack, but you cannot increase crit rate. So if the most important stat is speed for many players, the second most important stat to look at is going to be crit rate as well. For example, the best attacker rune for like RTA, where you have to run everything super fast and high crit, is going to be something that look like this. For example, so this rune is like the perfect rune for like a damage dealer, like a Masha, Narsha, Monkey King, whatever, right? A damage dealer. So it has speed in there that I grind to 26, but it also roll 1 time into crit rate. So this is a 3 speed, 1 crit rate rune, which is very desirable for damage dealer. And if it is like a supporter like Oliver, you want 3 speed and then accuracy, for example. But here we have crit rate and I have 2 other grindable stat. The imperfection of this rune is the resistant innate. Unfortunately, if it is accuracy innate, this will be a 11 out of 10 kind of rune. So this is another great example of a very, very good rune. So you can grind that. And that is what we look for when we farm every single day. And how I use the rune to build is also very, very important. So when you build a team in RTA, I usually start with what I would call the Swift unit, which is to speed contest. Because a Swift unit, like a Shiho, you can see right here, is not very, very fast. He is actually kind of garbage in the standard for where I'm playing, right? You would think, how are you using this? But you can use this unit because no Vile unit in a realistic estimation would ever outspeed this Shiho, like ever. So potentially, even with no speed lead, I can outspeed like a 270 unit very, very comfortably. Even with Oliver speed lead, this Oliver would not outspeed this Shiho. So it doesn't have to be crazy fast, but it has good stat right there. It has good accuracy to land the stun as well. And I build my Swift unit first because you need a couple of that. You don't need everything on Swift, but you do need a couple. So I put my Swift runes on my high base speed unit like Shiho, Asher, and Ethna because they can potentially allow me to outspeed the 100 base speed unit like the Jogun, for example. It's very hard to make Jogun very, very fast. And there are other 100 base speed stripper like Gianna, Veronica out there that could be countered by my Swift unit. So my Swift unit are Shiho, Escher, and Ethna. So they have my best Swift rune. And you can see right here, once again, you want grindable stat, you want grindable stat, you want grindable stats. And the same apply to Escher as well. You can see that Escher doesn't need attack, so I grind crit rate over here instead of attack as usual, because you would think, Sean, why are you not grinding attack in there? But I know that I'm using this for my Escher, and Escher doesn't care too much about attack, but it'll be better if he crits more often, so I grind it, or I enchant the crit rate into the Escher. But for the other runes, it is still, once again, grindables, even for the flat stat as well, and as many grindables as possible. And that is the Swift unit. And then you want to anchor your team. So the more of the similar speed you can build, the better. So my strippers are going to be Heigang, who is on my Despair set. And the follow-up unit is usually Oliver. My other stripper is Jogan on Swift. But the good thing about Jogan is he boosts attack bars, so I can build him with a pretty big speed gap between Oliver and Jogan, and it's still going to be okay because he boosts my Oliver to move anyway. And then the other unit that follow up after this Heigang is the Lamila, my Masha, my Savannah, my Carnal. They are at similar-ish speed, and they perform as the follow-up unit. So for HP type unit like Lamelia, you can see that I have barely any attack stat, and the runes that I choose for her also doesn't really care about attack stat. So this rune right here could have had more attack stat in there, but because I know I'm using it for Lamila, I'm putting in 1,000 more HP flat. And if I were using it for other unit, then I'll be putting in attack percent. But because this is Amelia, I'm putting more HP on that runes instead of attack percent. And the same can apply to the Fire Bison as well. That scale with HP, so all the Fire Bison rune doesn't really have attack stat in there at all, and you want to maximize even the HP flat or the defense flat in there to make it tankier. However, for other unit, for example, like Meiho Wong, who scale with attack but doesn't want to die early into the fight, you want a mix of everything. So this guy is using an HP main rune with defense attack. Once again, we have like everything in there from defense, HP to attack. This is a beautiful grindable runes right there. We have crit rate and every other stat grinded to the top as well. So Meiho Wong or Masha is a little bit more complicated. Masha also kind of need everything but focus more on attack. Meiho Wong need everything but focus more on defense and HP. And Chao is also another unit that needs everything but focus more on HP and attack and not really defense. So it really depends on a situation that you want to use the appropriate rune. And for example, Josephine is another unit that need to be tanky because her shield scale with her HP, but her damage scale with her attack. So if possible, you want to have attack. But then, because Josephine base attack is kind of shit, if you can choose between having extra attack and sometimes extra crit damage might even be better for you. So every single unit has a little bit of nuance in there that make it very, very complicated. And that makes Summoners all fun, right? And I don't know what I'm yapping about anymore, but that is pretty much the rune discussion I have for you guys today. I hope that was very helpful for you. Once again, we have a legend rune with 4 speed that I'm going to +9. That didn't go speed, and I don't need more of the efficient kind of rune, especially for focus. So we are probably going to be selling all of this. Right now, I'm really interested in runes that roll very heavy in one stat. I hate runes that roll 1 in each, unless it is like violent and it rolls really high. Then I can sort of think about it. But for runes like Focus or Endure, I really enjoy runes that roll really high into something, because that is when you can specialize your build in a certain way. Because there are unit in Siege that want the most attack possible, or their unit that wants the most HP possible, or their unit that wants resistance, for example, Gelnir or some other healer. So I really like runes that just roll really high into something. It makes building stuff a little bit easier. So if I can have like really high resistance in some of the rune, then I don't have to run like a resistance slot 6, for example, then I can focus on having more stats. So the art of acquiring rune, managing your rune inventory, and then building the team is a very, very complicated process that is really hard to put into words. I don't know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see the tomorrow update tomorrow.